You are listening to Directions from a Spiritual Tour Guide podcast. I am your host, Shanel Scott. I'm a psychic medium and energy healer who has been supporting those on a spiritual journey for over a decade. I'm your tour guide into the world of the unknown, showing you that the magic of the universe is at your fingertips. I believe spirituality is simple and fun, and this podcast will make it easily accessible, giving you the real talk on all things divine and spiritual, helping you to step into the flow. Manifesting your dreams because we all deserve to be living our best life. Are you ready for an adventure? Hello, sunshines, and welcome to a new episode of Directions from a Spiritual Tour Guide podcast. I ended up taking the summer off, and it was great. I had a lot of time to spend in nature and with myself. I did a lot of connecting and working on my business and developing other people's business through business intuition, and we'll talk about that another day. But I needed a break, I think. I needed a break. And I was waiting for kind of inspired action to come back to recording. I've always stuck to my usual card of the day and my weekly oracle card reading. Those haven't gone anywhere, as those seem to be a staple. But this podcast has been a whole different beast for me, and something to really wrap my heart and soul around in a different way and to show up in a different way. And today, there just seemed to be this urge to turn on the mic and come and talk to you. As I always do from month to month, for my Divine Map membership, my beautiful community of like-minded people who are on a soulful journey, to deepen their intuition and their spirituality, to deepen their connection to themselves, to do healing work, all those beautiful things. So grateful for this membership and this community and to gather with them. So every month before the beginning of the month, I sit and I connect and I channel and I don't want to say I plan because I feel like it's very divinely guided. So I sit to see what is happening. So today I sat and went through most of what is needing to happen in September. I got about 2/3 of the way through before I got a call for some help, and skittered off to help a friend. And clearly my soul needed that break. I've needed a lot of rest lately and a lot of time to de-stress and just self-care and to connect with other people too, which has been so beautiful. But today I spent time this morning. I did that check-in, I did that channel work, and was given the most beautiful channeled card spread. So every month I tap into the theme of the month, and I always do a channeled card spread, a healing meditation, and a yoga nidra that are geared to that theme. And the channeled spread this month was Lead with Love. It was an 8-card spread that came out, and it was all about our connection to love, whether that's self-love, our openness to love, where we feel depleted in love. And I finished it off before I ran off to help a friend, and came home, and I knew my husband was getting up soon because he works straight nights, and made some dinner and watched a show and snuggled the dog for a bit because she needs my love and attention. She hates my office. And then as I came back down, I knew that I was to pull that spread for myself. So I used Rebecca Campbell's deck, the Rose Oracle, which is one that I really feel drawn to. It's a very beautiful, almost romantic feeling deck. And I pulled those 8 cards. And when I read each card and what it was connected to, there's just this like immense love for the messages I was receiving. And they were very much for me, but I felt really guided to share with you afterwards. What is most important in our lives is just showing up as you. And I had a friend say that to me, I think a year ago now. She said, your power is showing up as you, that you just show up so beautifully and share your heart and soul, and you never let people feel like they're alone, and you just share. You share your story, you share your wisdom, you share your passion, you share your guidance, you share your gift. And in that moment, it felt so insignificant. It felt very touching, but a little like, yeah, that's just who I am, right? But over this past year, that meaning of that statement from her has evolved into something completely different. I have spent a lifetime of hiding beneath a cloak, of shrinking to make everyone else comfortable because I'm a nurturer, I'm a giver, and I'm not a taker. It's not that I don't love to receive, I'm just very uncomfortable doing it because I'm so used to being the healer. So it's harder for me to receive from someone else, although I have an amazing group of friends that it makes it so much easier with them, and I am so incredibly grateful. And of course, my amazing husband, that is always easier with him as well. But it's not something that has come very natural to me. I am a natural born leader. I am somebody that will always step up and take the lead if it is necessary, if it is needed, if chaos is happening, I'm the person that'll take a deep breath and just simmer the crowd and get her done. I've always had that drive. But what I didn't realize is although I step up and step forward, I can command and I can demand attention. It is not in a way that is me standing up to say, this is who I am. It is often in a capacity where I am cleaning things up. I am healing. I am returning things to calm, to a state of normal. It is not me stepping up and leading in a way that isn't in panic or isn't in the sense of need. And I found that really interesting. So again, probably close to 10 years ago, a teacher of mine, I did a course with her, and she gave me a big hug on the last day and said, it's safe. You can take off the cloak now. And those words stuck. Like, I can't even tell you how much those words have stuck. And I have recognized over these last 10 years this desire and this need to take it off and to stand up. Yet at the same time, this innate unconsciousness of shrinking, of trying to make others happy, of trying to make others comfortable instead of having a voice. And I giggle as I say that in my head because my husband is like, he even joked about it today. He has no issues with confidence. My husband has no issues being the leader. My husband has no issues standing up and being the center of attention and taking control. And it's funny because I will stand toe to toe to him every single time, and not in a bad way. We have an amazing relationship, and I think it's because we can talk about anything. We can have conversations about the hard stuff, and it's not always easy, but we have amazing conversations. We can stand up toe to toe to each other because we have this passion that we share. So it's not like I married somebody who I just like to hide in the shadow of, because the funny part is he'd prefer to stand behind me. He'd prefer to be my support system and cheer me on and watch me succeed, which is incredible. So even though he's been in my life for quite some time now, I still have struggled to stand up. But it's been a healing process. It has been a process of taking off the hood and putting it back up again, of untying it at the neck and sliding it over my shoulders, and then deciding that I'm still not comfortable and pulling it back on. And sometimes tying it back up and putting the hood back over so nobody can see my face again. But I definitely made a decision a few years ago that was no longer serving me. And it's not that it took me that long to figure that out. Like, I knew when my teacher had said it 10 years ago that this was a path that I was headed on. Well, maybe not 10 years ago. Maybe more like 7 or 8. Time doesn't matter. But it really took a lot for me to feel like I was supported, that somebody had my back. And not even just that, but I had my own back. That I wasn't going to turn around and bow down and slip back into old patterns. And that's really easy to do. Really, really easy to do. I have felt empowered to stand up. And not only to stand up, but to stand tall, full size, ready to take on the world. Not to go to battle, because who needs more war? But instead, to stand up and take a leadership role, to encourage healing, to encourage more laughter, because there's not enough laughter in this world. And of course, more love, because we can always, always use more love. I love that meme you see on social media all the time, like, let's normalize telling friends that we love them. Like, making it weird, let's tell them that much. And there are so many people that I tell them I love them on a regular basis, because I do. I am so grateful for the incredible people in my life that help me, or that make me feel safe to be me. Once upon a time, when somebody asked me what I did, I would whisper, in the quietest voice ever, that I talk to dead people. And now I will stand on a mountain and I will say that I talk to the other side. I will channel your business. I am a divine channel. I want to share the messages of love and healing. And I have no problem with that. There is once upon a time that I used to stutter over the fact that I've been married more than once. Let's say 3 turns the charm. That I have children from 2 different husbands. I am not embarrassed about my life. I am proud of who I am. I am proud of my incredible children. I am proud of my husband and my family and my friends. I am proud to be me. Because everything that I experienced in my life has created this, that has created me. I often talk about it with clients about, we can imagine our life like a quilt. And it's not one of those pretty quilts with all the same colors and its same shapes and it's beautiful. It's beautiful, but in a very different way. each piece, each experience in our life, we can consider another piece of the quilt. And each piece of fabric is sewn together. And some are sewn on top of others because the pieces underneath are no longer significant. They are a piece of who we are. They still exist. But we visually don't see them the way that we used to. We've evolved. We've learned. We've grown. We've taken the lessons and moved forward. But they're still there. All of these things make us who we are, and we choose how to carry them forward. I choose to release the weight of my past. I can still carry the lessons and the wisdom of it without having to carry the weight of it. I choose to love me for who I am. My hair doesn't define me. My role as a mother does not define me. Being a wife doesn't define me. Even being a medium or a psychic medium doesn't define me. All of these things are part of who I am. And what is the most important is that I show up knowing who I am. Being authentically me. Unapologetically me. So can you imagine if we all kind of showed up that way? That doesn't mean that we're selfish or we're putting ourselves first or we're being rude or immoral. It means that we can show up without having to wear a mask or having to shrink to fit in. That we can use our voice to have an opinion without thinking first, will we be judged for it? And again, I feel like this is about the circles that we move in. I do choose not to speak sometimes because I know that my words will fall on deaf ears. It is not about judgment. Go ahead. What is it about is my own peace. I choose peace in my life. And to have peace, I show up as me. I don't pretend because that's more complicated. And I like ease and grace. I like peace. So I ask you in this moment, can you recognize whether or not you're wearing a cloak right now? Can you acknowledge whether or not in your day-to-day life you are able to show up unapologetically you? Now, I'm sure you're wondering where this all goes. I know. She's ranting. What is she talking about? I know who I am. Yes. But knowing who we are raises our vibration. Knowing who we are allows us to move through life with more ease and grace. It allows us to focus on the things we want in our life. Judgment, worry, stress, fear, needing to fit in, shrinking to fit in. These things are prayers for things we do not want. So why would we pray for the stuff that we don't want in our lives? And we do it all the time. They are an illusion to distract us from the places that we want to be, the things we want to achieve. So can you imagine showing up in a way that allowed you to say, I acknowledge that this is fear, but my intention is to feed the solution. My intention is to feed the positive, and my intention is to take a step in the right direction instead of feeding fear. When we know who we are and where we want to go and what we want to achieve, we raise our vibration to meet it. We create more of it. We focus on the good stuff, creating more of the good stuff. And that's where the magic is. Wouldn't life be easier if you could just be you? That you didn't have to remember the lies or how you acted to be able to fit in, or what you said because it wasn't authentic. But you said it because you thought that's what somebody wanted to hear. My job as a psychic medium is to share the messages. And they aren't always what people want to hear. And there was a time where I would sugarcoat things and I would make it all pretty. And it's like, no. That is doing nobody any favors. So I tell it like it is. That's why this podcast is about the real talk. Because it's the real talk that gets us places, that moves the needle. So this is your rant from a spiritual tour guide. Someone who is here to support you and guide you, to give you tools and to cheer you on this spiritual journey we call being human. I am here to encourage you and invite you to show up just as you are. Big-hearted, kind, and loving. Maybe funny or compassionate. The world needs more authenticity, more integrity. So thank you for listening to me go on, and for holding me accountable for standing up full size. Because I show up for you and for myself. Because I know how important it is to be true and to show others that it is safe to do so too. That we can stand together and support one another on this spiritual journey. Hand in hand, lifting each other higher and higher. Because there is room for everyone. There is enough for everyone to win. Thank you so much for listening. Again, my name is Shanel. I am your spiritual tour guide here on this beautiful journey to love and support and guide, to help, to find witness, to healing, and to the journey that we need to take to get to the other side, to live that dream life, because you can. We all can. And we're making it happen. One podcast, one breath, one yoga class, one channeled message, one smile, one act of kindness at a time. So thank you for being here on my spiritual journey. Thank you for allowing me to be your spiritual tour guide. From my heart and soul to yours. Until the next time.